Hello again, my name is Cameron MacDonald and welcome to Whisky Without the Guff episode 12. Actually it's going to be 12, 13 and 14. What we're going to do is taste 15-year-olds and we have 8 of them. So we're going to do it in 3 sections. The first 4, which you see in front of you, and then another 4, and then we're going to take the best of those and hopefully sort out what's the best and what's the worst. Just to show you a chart again, I want to remind you of this that I used in episode 2. I'll put it up here. I've learned that I got to make sure you can actually see this. So what this curve is, if you take the quality of a whiskey and time, whiskey doesn't mature in a linear way, it's exponential. So it gets better very quickly and then it starts to level off, and then after a while years and years have to go by before you get marginal improvement. So if that was 20 years old, which is where you get most of the good of a whiskey by and large, 15 let's say was about here, so at 15 you're getting the bulk of this. So 15 ought to be about the best while still keeping the price under control, if that's not an oxymoron, because Scotch whisky is not an inexpensive drink. But the other way of explaining this is, like, if you've tied up the resources of the distillery, barrels, physical space, inventory, people, for 15 years, and now bear in mind you're sampling this stuff all the time, you're smelling it from different casks, you're tasting it. Now if that whiskey at the end of 15 years is not good, you have really screwed up because you've tied up resources for 15 years and now you've discovered that, oh, actually it turns out that's not good. So by definition then, it should really be almost impossible to get a 15-year-old that's inferior. So this is more a search, I think, for if something isn't worthy of buying, just to give you a sort of heads up, don't buy this. But I'm not really expecting to find anything that's rotten or anything that's merely okay, kind of good. You would expect these things to be at least very good. So let's start with the first one, Glenmorangie. Glenmorangie, we've tasted before, but that's the other thing. We're tasting them in a company that's different to what we tasted them before for. And as you've seen in the last episode, for instance, when you take a different company, you get kind of different results. So Glenmorangie 15, it's a 43%. And then we're going to have Dalmore 15. Dalmore is, what is it, 40%. Then moving into the Macallan 15, the Macallan is 43%. And the Balvenie. Now this is a 15-year-old Balvenie and it's 47.8%. The first two, this is Highland, Speyside. And just show you where those are. Notice I'm holding this way up high. Let me just expand this a little bit. So the Glenmorangie is up here. The Dalmore is kind of here, so close. And then we move into the Speyside area. The Macallan distillery is almost smack in the middle of this area. And over here is Balvenie. So that's what we're going to be doing. And without any further ado, next time you see this, of course, it's not, the bottles aren't going to be there. Stu and Steve are going to be here instead. I'd prefer to look at the bottles myself, but and we'll have the tasting set up, so we're good to go. Huh? He's taking up some of my room.
Who has?
You do.
Look. Where am I going to go?
Steve's having trouble sitting there with his legs forced wide apart. So this is Steve and Stu. You've seen them before umpteen times. And we're going to test those 4 whiskies that I talked about earlier. So number 1 is the Glenmorangie. They're all 15-year-olds, so number 1.
Okay.
Well, that smells great.
Do you think when you smell it, it affects your taste or not? Or it's incidental?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Smells good. Tastes good. Smell to me is better than the taste. That doesn't mean it's bad. Number 2 is a Dalmore. I showed you earlier on the map where they're located. Much different smell.
Much darker too. Much softer smell.
Yeah.
Much softer taste too. It's very smooth. I mean, it might just be right after the Glenmorangie, but it's smooth to the point of evaporating.
A little too smooth.
Yeah, maybe.
Ah,
So number 3 is the Macallan. That's another lovely smelling thing. That's very nice.
seems to be sort of midway in between.
And number 4 is the Balvenie. Quite a distinct smell to this. Almost medical smell. I mean,
Yeah.
nice medical, not.
Yeah, it's,
Not as much
yeah.
of a smell as
Yeah.
the others, I don't
Really.
think.
Bit of a burn on the taste.
Yeah.
Nice though.
That sneaks up on you a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I like it.
It's quite a bit different.
Afterwards, I like it. You know? Well, no, it's a slow
After it
slow
falls
burn.
down.
But not,
Very soon.
not when it's happening.
Well, no, it was good when it happened, but it's just a slow burn afterwards.
No, it's good. Taste is good. Alright, go back to the beginning here. I want to try something different. It's magic how the different smells. I mean, these 4 are
All different, aren't they?
radically, to me, different smells.
I'm surprised at how different they are in all regards, you know, taste and nose. I mean, it's
Well, the Balvenie and the Macallan are very close. Well, they're all
Yeah.
fairly close. Dalmore, those 3 are pretty close. There's none of them bad though.
no, none of them.
You sense any of these bad?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're ordinary. I don't think they're good. I think they're all very good. As a minimum, very good. So that, try this.
They're,
Try the Dalmore again. Coffee? I swear to God, I can smell coffee.
road tar. Oh, it does, now that you say it, I can too. Or something like it.
Which one is it?
It's-
Dalmore? Number
Number
The
2.
Dalmore,
Yeah.
number
Yeah,
two.
that's one of them.
It's weird when you when you go back through them again, they taste,
It's remarkable.
tasted a little different.
A lot different. Just wonder if
Coffee's a lot cheaper though.
True, but not nearly as rewarding.
No. So I've done in the Dalmore and I've done in the Balvenie. Leaves me with,
Whoops, sorry.
well, there's nothing bad there.
nope.
No. Far from it.
I mean, to me, it's all down to personal taste or the
Yeah.
mood you're in at the time, because
Yeah.
when I go through them once, I think one thing, I go through them again, I think something slightly different, go through them again,
Yeah,
it's
it's different.
different again, but none of it bad, just
No.
different.
No,
All excellent.
it's a nice journey going.
Decidedly different, yeah. So do you know which you prefer?
I
Think so.
Yep.
So which one do you think's best? What's your orders do?
What's my order?
Mm-hmm.
Actually liked the Glendronach the most.
We weren't drinking Glendronach.
Oh, wasn't it? What's number two? What's
Number 2 is Dalmore.
Oh, Dalmore. I had D in a scribble, so I couldn't read it.
Okay.
So the Dalmore, the Balvenie,
Mm-hmm.
the Macallan, and the Glenmorangie.
Okay.
Mm.
Macallan, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, let's see, would be number 2. Let's see, what's that?
Number 2 is Dalmore.
Dalmore, number 2. Number 3 is Balvenie. And number 4 is Glenmorangie.
Yep.
And Morangi, yeah. So mine was different to both of you.
Really?
Oh, there you go.
It was almost the polar opposite of Stu's. So my best one was Macallan.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, same as yours, but then varies. My second best was a Glenmorangie.
Okay.
Number 3, Balvenie. And number 4, Dalmore.
Yeah, wow.
So, I mean, that's a good sign, because we've never had anything so
Yeah, so-
divergent. So
yeah.
I think it's
Taste, personal taste.
yeah, but none of them. I mean,
Oh, I wouldn't toss any of them out of my
Yeah.
liquor cabinet.
Yeah.
I mean,
right. I found the smell of the Balvenie and the Dalmore quite peculiar.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
or maybe peculiar is the wrong word. Distinctive.
Yeah.
distinctive.
Is maybe a better
And they were,
word.
It's the highfalutin version of peculiar.
yeah. Yeah, Glenmorangie has a pretty good smell, but then what was, I think was number 2 that didn't have much of a smell at all.
Oh, number 2 is the one that smells like coffee.
I think that's
See, I like coffee, so that's
Yeah.
the one, that's the one I picked.
Anything
yes, no
else?
complaints. No, it's all excellent.
Instead of starting the day with coffee, I could start it with Dalmore.
Well, in summary, then, it's hard to sort of draw firm conclusions from this. One conclusion is that the whiskies were all good, and everybody thought, any one of these is good. The only pattern, if there was such a thing, that turned out was Steve and I both thought the Macallan was the best of the 4. Now, it's a personal taste thing, and Stu thought the Dalmore was the best of the 4. Thought it had a unique smell, unique taste. Both Steve and I, curiously enough, thought the smell, the nose was pretty much non-existent, and the taste was fine, but it was very mild. And in fact, I think I said mild to the point of sort of disappearing. So I'm not quite sure what that was. Maybe there's a thing, and Stu is particularly sensitive to something. It might be that both of us sort of said, Jesus, I smell coffee. Sort of got afraid for myself, because I don't want to join the club of jasmine and sassafras and hints and notes of seaweed and all that stuff. So let's see where we go tomorrow with the next 4. And then we'll go to the final. I don't know how we're going to do this. I think we should carry maybe the Macallan and the Dalmore forward as the 2 that got the best score. In terms of homework, I don't think that there is any sensible homework until we get to the end of this 15-year-old thing, which will be a few days yet. Yeah, if you liked this or learned something from it, give us a like, subscribe if you can, and meanwhile get out and drink, and we'll see you next time.